Money Talks. Every Tuesday, I do Essential Money Talks. And so I'll talk about a certain topic, or I'll have someone that I interview. And so today, in Essential Money Talks, I'm going to talk about thinking long-term. So thinking long-term will either make you or break you. Now, this morning, I've had a kind of a crazy morning, some unexpected things. A couple of my family members have COVID, and so there were some errands that I needed to do with them. And so things haven't gone perfect, but thank goodness I do make some plans. I plan in the future, and so the things that I needed to do, including this, then I was semi-prepared. I actually had my daughter on the phone as I was driving home from this unexpected errand, taking notes of what I wanted to talk to you today. So they're going to be kind of scattered all over the thing, but you'll get the point. So the first thing I want to do is, recently I was awarded the Spending Planner of the Year from the Spending Planners Institute. And in 2019, I was awarded this new Spending Plan of the Year. And so that was a great honor. And I've been in business for 5 years now. Has it been easy? No. Has it seemed long some days? Yes. Have I felt like quitting some days? Yes, and just throwing it all in. But it's that long-term goal that I have in mind, and how I really want to help people, that's what's really helped me to keep my eye on my goal. Because it's so easy to come up to a roadblock or a barrier and just think, oh, I'm not meant to be doing this. And it could be for whatever you're doing in your life. But generally, when there's a roadblock or a brick wall, we just have to get over that. And then the great grass is greener on the other side, or things will get better. And so often too, people focus in their current challenges and take it as if they're not supposed to continue to do what they're doing, but you are. A perfect example is children. When I was a stay-at-home mom with 5 young children, there were some days it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. It was just, I was so in the moment of being a mom and taking care of all their needs, and my needs were put back on the back burner. And it was really hard to think long-term, but I had to think long-term. And when I talk to older mothers, which I am now one, they would say, enjoy what you have now, because they grow up fast. And so we need to, in whatever thing we're struggling with at the moment, we need to think long-term. What is that ultimate goal? Why are we doing that? And focus on that. And just know that, yes, there are going to be obstacles along the way, but keep your eye on the goal. And so it's the same with other things in our life, like our finances. For example, we all own a refrigerator, but we all know that those don't last long term, that they will eventually need replacing. And so if we put our head in the sand and ignore it, then when it comes to needing a refrigerator, we could easily play the victim. Oh, poor us. We don't have, our fridge. We have to go and buy a fridge, and we don't have the money. We either have to steal from our savings, or we will put it on interest-free, because you weren't thinking long-term when you initially bought that refrigerator. It was probably around 3 or 4 years ago when we had termites in our kitchen, and so we had to replace our counter was kind of collapsing in, and then of course when they took the kitchen out, that whole our whole kitchen wall plus half into the family room had been eaten by termites. So we had to replace all our appliances in one hit because our appliances were the original ones we bought when we built the house. And so we had all these new appliances. Now, to think long term, and what I did, is we started saving from the day we bought those, because it cost about $13,000 to get all our appliances. We started saving from then so that when these ones are done and need replacing, we have the money. Because chances are they may all break at the same time. Chances are they might. Some things might last longer, but we have long-term thinking. Okay, I could easily put my head in the sand and just say, whew, we just did that. I won't have to do that for a while and forget about it. But that's short-term thinking. So we need to think about what things we have in the future that are coming up that are essential needs, okay? Having a fridge is an essential need. And generally, the life cycle of a fridge is maybe 10 years. Sometimes it's 5 years. So we need to have a plan and be putting away money so that we have money for those in the future so that it's not a stress. So long-term thinking, the first thing about long-term thinking is it works. And it works because it's taken away that instant gratification, okay? We do have a future, even though some days we're just trying to get through this day. We do need to think about the future because the future is going to be today. It will come sooner than we think. So when it comes to spending, okay, I am a happy spender, and I teach people how to become a genuine happy spender, which is one who saves, who plans their spending, saves for their spending, which the spending plan system software I have does an amazing job to help you with that, and then happily spend. Where today there's so much impulse. The marketing and advertising is get it now, buy now, pay later, or get the product and pay later, Afterpay. There's so many of them out there, and people are being crippled financially because of them, because of that impulse of wanting something right now. And majority of the stuff that people use Afterpay for is stuff they want, not stuff they need. Okay, so they get the stuff that they want, and then because of all those little payments that all add up, then they stress because they can't pay what they really need when that electricity bill comes, or the phone bill, or their car registration. So we have to put things in priority. Long-term thinking, we need to make sure that our essential basic costs are covered first, as well as our, and that's to cover our bills that are coming up, as well as the ones that will come up later in the year, as well as the ones that will come up within the next 10 years, like replacing that fridge. So we really need to get ourselves thinking long-term and not getting caught up in that impulse here and now type of spending, because that just is procrastinating and inviting money stress. And so with your bills and with the spending plan system that I teach, is you plan your spending for the next 12 months. You can see that all your essential costs are covered, as well as your long-term replacement stuff, as well as your unexpected things, which do happen. Everyone has something unexpected happen. We need to have a plan for that. And so with the spending plan, I teach 6 ways that the 6 types of ways you spend your money, and we have a plan for each of those ways. So it's really important to stop living paycheck to paycheck, like many people do, where they wait for that paycheck to come in because they have $0 in their bank account, and they have to have that. Where we need to get out of that cycle, have some savings so that you have that backup, and so that you can eliminate that money stress. And the peace of mind that comes for that is amazing. So when I started my spending plan 19 years ago, before that, I used a traditional budget, which only goes so far. It talks about income and expenses, but it focuses, the first thing it talks about is income, where with this spending plan, we focus more on your expenses because it doesn't matter what your income is. If you have high expenses, then that's a problem. I've worked with people who make a lot of money. I've worked with people who are on the pension and make little money, yet those who make little can be more rich than the ones who make a lot because of their expenses. So income has nothing to do with it and about financial peace. It all has to do with how much money is going out once you get your pays in. And so for me, 19 years ago when I found the spending plan system, I finally got out of the budgeting, which is guessing and saying it's possible to pay your bills, as opposed to a spending plan showing me how to pay my bills and showing me my future bank statements of my account so I can see factually that I will have the money in that account on the day that that expense comes in. And that makes a huge, huge difference to whether you have anxiety with money or whether you have peace. And it works really, really fast. Let's talk about long-term in regards to debt. And thank you, Reg. Yes, I just got back from the hairdresser. Yes, that's a long-term thinking in the sense that I have that in my spending plan to do. And yeah, I thought I'd be a bit different today and go straight hair. And so thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about two different things where long-term is good and long-term is bad. If you have debt, consumer debt, or any debt for that matter, but let's just talk about consumer debt. That stuff that you buy that is stuff. As soon as you buy it, it loses value. Okay? If you had to turn around and sell it, chances are you could not get full price for it. It's not an asset. It's stuff. As opposed to a mortgage, when you buy a home, as long as you don't buy over the market, if you buy, a good price of a home, if you had to go and sell it 6 months or a year later, you should at least come away even or not lose too much. It's an asset. It will increase in value. And as we've seen in Queensland, how much it has increased in value of the housing. So consumer debt is stuff that we buy, usually that we want. And then sadly, it's also things that we need because we spent our actual money on things we want and didn't do it the right way around because we need to take care of our essentials first before we buy what we want. And that's just a simple money truth. So if you have debt long-term, which is what the banks want, it's what your credit card wants, then you are paying a lot of interest. For example, if you have a credit card that is $10,000 maxed out, okay, and you're just paying the regular payments, what they say for you to pay, say it's $141 a month, it will take you 36 years to pay that $10,000 off, and it will cost you a total of $64,000. So if you bought something when you're like in your early 30s, 36 years later, you're retired. Just think of what you could do with that, what you could have done with that money, then paying the bank interest. And thinking, what did I actually buy? What was that $10,000 that I put on my credit card? And was that worth $64,000? And I know, guaranteed, the answer is no. That you saw those cute red shoes and you bought them because they were only $150, but in essence, they could have, by the end, they would have ended up being $650. Would you have bought those shoes for $650? No, you wouldn't. But that's what you're doing every time you put something on your credit card. And and the interest. We see, oh, it's only 25% interest. 25% interest, it's accruing, becomes a lot. So long-term thinking when it comes to debt is you need to get that short-term paid off. You have to have gazelle intensity, like Dave Ramsey says. You need to put everything else on the back burner, all your other wants. You need to scale down to your essential costs only, and you need to pay off that debt ASAP to save you hundreds and thousands of dollars. Same with your mortgage. You can always increase your mortgage more than what the bank says. Okay, they want you to pay it off in 30 years, whereby adding in some money, a little bit extra, that which you can afford, you can cut that down to 15 years to pay off your home. So again, remember that financial, businesses, banks, they all want you to take a long time to pay off debt because they're getting a lot more money out of you. So we need to know that game and be smart and do that. So let's go on to the benefits of long-term with savings. So if you put and invest money into something now, then it's going to, the investment's going to compound and you're going to get interest, plus you're going to get more interest on the interest, and it's going to save you money in the long term. And so your money is going to grow without you putting in more money. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's not real huge, but it's still, you're ahead of the game and to do that. And there's different ways that you can make that money work even better for you, but definitely finding investments that are good for you, but also be careful not to get really high risk ones if you're not willing to lose it all. Okay, another thing that we need to think about long-term is retirement. Now, we're about 10 years off of retirement, and I wish I would have known today what I known 30 years ago when we first got married. We're going to be, we just celebrated our 33rd anniversary, my husband and I, and I wish we were as financially smart. I mean, we were in the sense that my husband was, you pay cash for everything, and so we were quite smart, but we look back, there's so many other ways we could have been better. And one is probably in regards to our retirement, to putting in a bit more and bumping up that superannuation to the top amount and those cash contributions that you can do every year. All those things, but we were just kind of like most families, we were a family of 7 focusing on the here and now. But retirement will come. There will be a day when we cannot work and we need to live off whatever we have accrued. And so that's another important thing to be looking at, and to finding a financial planner, talk to a few of them, find the one that is feels good to you, and plan for that future. Another one is cars. Okay, cars, we need to think long-term when we buy a car, as opposed to short-term impress. So, there's people who will just get a car loan, one, because they didn't think long-term save, and you can save for cars. If you can't afford, if you can only save $15,000 for a car, then you buy a car for $15,000, and you can get some really good secondhand cars. But some people will buy a new car and have a car payment, and then once that 4 years is paid off, then they just go in and upgrade their car, and they just continually have a car payment. Okay, that is financially normal, but I'm financially weird, and I teach people to be financially weird, that you don't have to have the latest and the greatest, that car that you bought will continue to go for 10 to 15 years. Thinking long-term of how much that's going to save you, because every time you upgrade a new car to the newest model, it's costing you a lot of money, short-term as well in the long term. So that's another area to think long-term. I had a friend who we used to, when I had my 5 kids, we had the old Mitsubishi van and the new Taragos, the aerodynamic Taragos were coming out. But hey, we paid cash for our car. We owned it. It was a great great car. And I had a friend who kept saying, oh, when are you going to buy a new car, a new van, like get the newest one? And I said, why? And she goes, oh, because it's really cool looking. And I dismissed it. Well, every once in a while she would ask that. And I thought, why does she care what car I drive? For me, it was paid off. It did the job. And I realized that maybe I was embarrassing to her that her friend had an older style car. And so once I realized that, I just said, it's okay. That's not how I think. I think long term. I'm not here to impress people with what I drive or what I wear or anything like that. And so we have to be careful not to think of the here and now and buy things to impress other people, because those other people are not paying for it. They're not laying awake at night thinking, where am I going to get the money for this? How am I going to pay this off? Do I need to go get another job? Another aspect of long-term is to teaching your children. Sadly, they are not being taught about money in school. I've had some 17-year-old clients who come to me because they know they're not being taught in school, and they know that they're going to finish school and they're going to get a full-time job, and they don't know anything about money. Chances are their parents don't know, they weren't taught in school either, and then sometimes even if we are taught by our parents, we might just decide to do it a different way, do it our way, and then realize that wasn't the right way. So we need to think long term that when we have our children, we need to start teaching them from a very, very early age about money, and that to get money, you work for money. Okay. So I used to do Pocket Pal with my kids. It was a little money system where they had chores, and each chore was worth so much, and they would get paid every week. I was their employer, and I would pay them depending on what jobs they did. They didn't just be given money. I did not want to have them feel a sense of entitlement, because that comes naturally anyway. Society teaches them to have a self-entitlement. So as parents, we have to be so careful not to let them be entitled to the newest thing or that. We need to teach our children and be open about the family finances so that they understand, so that when they get to that point that they need to move out, that they know how to manage their finances. I actually have a course. It's called 17 Money Truths Before 18, or 17 Before 18. And it's about kids and money and the things that we need, that you as parents, that we need to teach our children before they leave home, to protect them from the big bad marketing, consumerism world out there that will just tell them that you deserve everything you want and you deserve it now, which is a big fat lie. So teach your children. I'm going to finish off by telling about the best way for long-term is to plant the seed, do things now, invest time now, and maybe a little bit of money now to set up your finances correctly. Budgeting is broken. It lacks vital information. It goes only so far. The difference between a budget and a spending plan is a spending plan goes beyond budgeting, beyond the income and expenses, and focuses more on the expenses, but adds in timing or cash flow of your income and expenses. And so I invite you to learn more about a spending plan. You can gain free access to my intro course of my spending plan course and learn the difference between a budget and a spending plan. It is so liberating. It's proven. I've been using it for 20 years. I've been helping many others go from money stress to money success by having a spending plan. It's not focusing on the past. The past is gone. Your money has been spent. We focus on the future, and that is where your success is. I just want to welcome and say hi to Katie White and Lydia Dumbrell, a few of my family who are I'm not well at the moment, and also to Spending Made Easy. I want to welcome all those who have joined in listening to this live today. So with a spending plan, we plan our spending, we save for it, which the software does a brilliant job for you, does all the calculating. You don't even have to use a calculator again. I'm terrible at math. I was terrible in high school at math. Didn't even get to algebra. I got to pre-algebra. And so it's funny that I'm actually having a finance business, but I don't need to because the spending planner is so smart and does all those calculations for me. So when I have a plan and I save for it, then I can spend happily. I'm a happy spender. You can become a happy spender. You can have that peace of mind, and it works really quick. Within a few weeks, you can have that total financial peace of mind because the spending plan shows you your truth. And once you then acknowledge that truth and be honest to following that truth, then you are guaranteed financial peace. It's not guessing like a budget or that it's possible that you'll have financial peace. It's a guarantee, and I guarantee to you that you will have financial peace as you plan your spending. I want you to become a seed planter. I always talk about a seed planter and a firefighter. A seed planter, or farmers, they plant the seed in the spring, they nurture it, but they don't have to do too much nurturing, but the sun and the rain, and then at the end they have their beautiful harvest. But they initially had to plant the seed. They couldn't say in October, okay, I want my fruit and veg, I want my harvest, when they didn't 6 months prior do their planning and do their planting. So a seed planter is what I am. I'm also a seed planter in planning things I need to do in the future so that I don't procrastinate it and leave it till the last minute. And then, of course, that brings stress. The other opposite of a seed planter is a firefighter. That's those who procrastinate and they're just stressing over that. And I'll, as my daughter is on the call, I so remember this. She was in high school. She was in home ec, and it was 7 o'clock. School started at 8, and she goes, "Oh, Mom, by the way, I need to take half a kilo of chicken drumsticks or chicken breasts to school because we're cooking today." And I said, "And how long did you know about this?" "Oh, probably a couple of weeks, but I just remembered." That is a firefighter. She was coming to me with a fire and wanting me to put it out. And luckily, I think we did have some in the freezer. It was frozen. But we have to be careful not to just automatically put out other people's fires because they didn't be prepared. With parents, with children for money, okay, if they come to you, "Oh, I need this money," you need to ask them, when did you know you needed this money by then? Did you plan for it? Don't enable them. Don't give them that false thing that if they don't plan, they can just come to you and you'll make things better. So, so today, long-term thinking will either make you or break you. It's a choice. It's not a gift. It's a choice. And what will you choose? Do you want to choose to continue on the road that you may be on financially, which is stress, uncertainty, anxiety? Or do you want to change course and start planning that trip? Just like in this, my picture over here of the mountains, when you plan a trip, you put a lot of effort and timing into planning for that trip. We need to do that with our finances as well, so that we can arrive at the destination that we want and enjoy the journey along the way. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me on Essential Money Talks. I will be going into my weekly Why Budgeting is Broken, Why Budgeting is Broken and a Spending Plan is the Answer webinar, information webinar. And so you'll see down below, and plus in the group, you'll see it in the featured posts. And so feel free to come on and ask any questions, and I can give you some more information. As well as so that's at 12:30 Brisbane time. today, Tuesday. So that's in about 20 minutes. And then I do it again on Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Brisbane time, which is 7 o'clock Sydney, Melbourne. And so that if you have any questions, you can come on and do that. Also, I'm promoting my upcoming April-May 8-week course. I'm currently doing the February-March and getting ready to finish that one off. And so if you're interested in wanting to create a spending plan and learn more, then that is a great opportunity to do that with others, and the support and the motivations and sharing each other wins is really valuable. So if you don't have access to my free intro course, then please, the information is in the group, or just message me with your email and I can give you access, 30 days access, and that will give you some more information on the difference between a budget and a spending plan, plus a free 30-minute money chat with me. So that is it for today, Essential Money Talks. We will see you next Tuesday. And until then, choose financial freedom. It is a choice, not a gift.